Whether you're just starting out or you've been playing golf for years, you need to know this lesson today. I'm going to go over your pre-swing fundamentals and make sure we give ourselves an MOT and we're getting the best out of our golf swing. Let's get into this lesson and take a look at those pre-swing fundamentals right now. Okay, so what are the pre-swing fundamentals? We're talking grip, we are talking aim, we are talking setup, and we are talking ball position. Like I said, if you're a great golfer or even if you're just starting out, it's something that you need to make sure you're getting right all the time, and something that we probably don't recap enough. So I'm going to go through these 4 things today for us, give us some little hints and tips, and make sure that we're not slipping into any bad habits and we're getting the most out of our golf swing. So let's start with the grip. What we would see with the grip would be that generally people fall either into a weak or a strong category. So what I mean by that is how the club is placed into the hands and how it is relative to target. Whether you're an overlapper, an interlocker, a baseball grip, what we need to see is that you're actually gripping it right to see that you're not actually influencing the club face in a negative manner. What I would see from quite a lot of people is that the lead hand is generally the issue. So what we'd like to see normally is something where we would get our lead hand and we would originally take the grip and it would be placed more into my fingers here, and then I would see that my lead forearm rotates a little bit and I get my lead hand on top a little bit more, like so. One of the big issues I see is that people take the grip, and when you just put a club down like so and put your hand onto it, what we can see now is that you can't see any of the back of my hand, and as I open up my glove here, what we see now is more that it's running through my palm. So when we're taking our grip, we need to make sure that the lead hand is on in the right manner. So we go fingers almost slightly cupped, put it into the base of the little finger here, then let the forearm rotate, and as we look down now we can see that the thumb on my lead hand just points slightly down the right hand side of the shaft as a right-handed player. And as I put the club down here, what we can now see is that we've got a couple of knuckles showing. So as I look down on it here, I can feel that my forearm is rotated ever so slightly, and that I can see a little bit of the back of my glove. I can see these 2 knuckles. It might be that I could see 3. But what I don't want to see is that I would be excessively strong, so I could see all my knuckles, or I would be excessively weak where I could almost see some of the palm of my grip. Make sure that we get it into the base of the little finger, fingers on and wrap over. Then when the trail hand goes on, a little checkpoint we're going to use, the little line here between the thumb and the forefinger is going to be what we're looking for. As I've got a good lead hand grip and I place this one on, if I imagine just putting my palm onto the side here, what I would then see now is that this little line that's created between the thumb and the forefinger is going to see that it points just up towards my trail pec there. I don't want it over too much and pointing out towards my lead shoulder, or I don't want it under too much pointing back away from the target and being too strong, because that, as I would swing the golf club, would influence what happens to the club face, and we don't want that. We want to see that we're getting a good grip so we can actually start to control the golf club in the best manner. Let's take a look at aim and see what we need to be doing there. Guys, if you're enjoying the video as well, do remember I want you to get better at golf, and you're going to do that by hitting that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell notification so you're not missing any of the free lessons that come to you every week. Just click it down there below and we will get better together. Let's get back into the video and the lesson. So the aim, what we need to do with the aim is make sure that we're getting the center of the club face pointing to our intended start line. Now we're going to use a straight shot as my example here. So as I'm looking down, my straight shot here now is pretty much the left edge of this tree. So I would set my club in, what I want to do is make sure that my leading edge is perpendicular to that straight to my target, so the edge of the tree. So what I need to make sure is that A, I get the ball lined up out of the center of the club face. B, like I say, is that I get this perpendicular line and get my club face now looking towards that target line. Then from there, the big thing, one of the main faults I see with aiming the body is that I would now try and aim my body at the same point, so I wouldn't have corresponding lines here. As you can see the club on the floor, it shoots out towards the right of the target now. It actually crosses this line here because it's not working in a parallel manner. So when we learn to aim, what we need to do is think of the train track analogy, and we have the ball to target line as the right-handed track for a right-handed player, and then our body is going to be parallel to that. So that will be the inside left track of the train track here. So I get my ball centered on my club face, leading edge perpendicular looking straight down, and then from here I now see that my feet, my knees, my hips, my torso, my shoulders are all running parallel to this. So they're actually aiming about 5 yards inside my intended target there. From there then, I'm now able to make a good swing if it's on plane and know that hopefully I will get the the ball working towards target. Think of it in this manner. If I had a rifle and I wanted to point it at the camera, I wouldn't be doing this. I would point it straight at. So let's try and learn to make sure that we're getting good aim. You could be making fantastic golf swings, but you could just be off in the wrong direction. You could be slightly out and it's just leading you to make some poor golf swings, or well, hit some poor shots because of poor aim. So number two, let's make sure that we can aim our club firstly and our body secondly in the right manner. From there then, how do we take our posture? Well, what I would see as one of the common faults as I would go through a lot of my lessons is people trying to help the golf ball up with an iron. So if we just see from the other camera now, what I would see is something where once I take my posture, a lot of my weight would go back behind the ball, and we can see now that my shoulders are tilting up towards the sky. My spine angle is leaning away from the target, and all the weight looks like it's in my trail thigh here. The reason for that, like I say, is the ambition to try and hit the golf ball up into the air. We don't want to do that. There's loads of loft on the golf club, there's grooves on there. Backspin's going to get the golf ball up in the air. We need to actually get a descending blow when we have our iron, when we're making a golf swing. So what we need to see is that as I take my setup now, I want to be athletic. I'm going to try and move this golf ball a fair old distance, sort of 160, 170, 180 with my 7-iron. So I need to be in a position where I can make a really quick athletic motive swing. So what I'd need to see is that as I stand to it, I feel tall, I make the most of my frame. From here then, I feel that my glutes go back, and then I just soften my knees so there's not loads of flex in it. One of the most common faults is that we would see people straight away sit down into it and then hunch over. Then we get into this position. We need to make sure that we make the most of my frame by straightening up, pushing the glutes back, a little bit of flex in the knees, and then from there now what we can see as it looks like face on is that I look pretty centered. If anything, with a mid-iron that I've got here, a 7-iron, I've actually got about 55% of pressure in my lead foot, because I know that I want to transfer into this side to see that I'm getting a good solid contact. So as I start, we can see now that I've got a pretty neutral spine angle. There'll always be a slight bit of tilt, obviously with the right hand being slightly below the left. But then I've got a little bit of weight here, and notice the posture here. I'm not sat down with a straight back, straight up here. It doesn't look like my glutes are hanging too much out over heels. From this little bit of pushing the hips back and flexing the knees, I look into a great position there. So that's our posture setup. Let's see that we're not hanging back behind the ball, looking slouched. We want to look athletic. We want to look like we're going to give ourselves the best ability to make a good golf swing. From there then, ball position. Where does the ball need to be as we're going through with a mid-iron? If I use these 3 golf balls here as an example, I would have let's say a sand wedge in the middle of my stance, my 7-iron about an inch in front, and if I were getting up towards my driver, I would see that my ball would be just in line with my lead heel there. So if we take the example of 7-iron that I'm about to hit, what we want from this one is that as I take my posture now with the ball position, I generally work on the line that I've got 13 clubs in my bag, regardless of a putter. So if I've got sand wedge in the middle of my stance and I've got a driver at my lead heel, I have 6 inches roughly between the middle of my body and my lead heel. So I've got to get those 13 clubs in there, so it's roughly half an inch, sorry, for each ball position as I'm moving up through my set. So with my 7-iron, we can see where my sternum is there, we can see the ball just in front. I'm looking like I've got an athletic posture. I've made a good grip here, seeing that it's in my fingers, and then from now I've aimed the club face directly at my target. And then from here, if I can make a pretty good golf swing, hopefully it should go somewhere near towards it. Beautiful solid strike, about 3 yards left of target with the wind, crisp as you like. So everything I've done by checking off those points, I've been able to make a good golf swing. Not a lot of hit shots I know in the video, but you need to go through these things and just understand them. These are things we do before we even move the golf club. So if we've already got them wrong before we've moved the golf club, the chances of hitting a golf ball well isn't going to be that great. So make sure we've got a good grip, make sure we can aim correctly, make sure you are standing to it in the right manner and you've got the ball in the right spot. If you can do the fundamentals well, I generally believe that you can actually be a pretty decent player without even working on much other stuff. So make sure, guys, you're getting these things right, and from there we can start to work on the golf swing. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. Like I said earlier, do remember to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of your free golf lessons with myself. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another lesson very soon.